Hey guys, this is Seth Keeping It Real. Today I'm very honored to be able to interview Joe Kovacs. Joe, thank you so much for being here on the Just One Dime show today, brother.
Thanks for having me, Seth. Looking forward to it, man.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm guessing most of our viewers don't know you, and so this is a really cool opportunity. Like, where are you from? How did you get involved in selling on Amazon? I heard you're speaking at this really cool conference called the Just One Dime Summit.
Whoa. I didn't know about this. Okay.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, man, so we're from Louisiana. I live about 45 minutes outside of New Orleans, and we got involved in Amazon. I was teaching full-time, and was just, hey, how can I make an extra $1,000? And, really, teachers don't make much, especially down here. So I'm sure some people can identify with that. And yeah, so I found out about this Amazon FBA thing. My brother told me about it, and so started researching it, and really had to convince my wife that it was something that we should do. And so we just started playing around with it, and that would have been January 2015, doing just a little bit of retail arbitrage, learning the ropes. And yeah, so it's been kind of a wild ride since then.
So you started doing arbitrage, then you moved over to private label. What was that like? What was that transition like for you guys?
Yeah, big learning curve for sure. And thankfully, we had some time to learn, and I think that's like the biggest thing that I take away is don't stop doing what's working for you right now to then bolt and do something totally new and just drop it. If you can, continue to do what's working while beginning to add on. And so little by little, like learning different parts of the private label process. And I have a lot of admiration for people that just jump straight into private label and make it work. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that spend a lot of money and it doesn't work out. So it's good to kind of find something that you can make work and then progress as you go and learn.
I know you are a humble man. You're not going to go around boasting about, everything that you've accomplished, but and I don't have exact numbers, but I can tell you Joe is utterly crushing it on Amazon. And a lot of this stuff he figured out on his own. He also was part of some courses that helped him out, and he's put together this strategy that he's going to share with you today on how he finds huge potential products. I'm going to put you on the spot here, brother. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. How are you doing as far as on Amazon? Like in your first, successful private label product, what kind of revenue was that like? Just at least to give the audience an idea of your experience in this space, if you're okay sharing that.
Sure, not a problem. So, we didn't go directly to the source it from China route. We were kind of, okay, how can we test, and that's part of the process, is how can we test it small and confirm our assumptions with data first, and so we'll get into that later. But yeah, so our first product, month one when we launched, we modest about $4,000, and then month two we jumped to 8,500. Month three we did about 17,000. And so we're on track to have a big Q4. We've got several other variations coming out, and so we're looking to do at least 25,000 in October, and move on to have a pretty significant November and December. So
you started around 4,000, then 8,500, then 17,000, and then you're looking at 25,000. And when you talk about these numbers, are you talking about revenue or profit?
Yeah, right now that's one product, and that's revenue. And so we're looking at probably around a 25-30% profit margin on that. It's a bit heavy.
We've sold heavy products, and sometimes they can get you in a niche where a lot of people aren't selling, but then you do, pay more in fees. But still, so 25-30% profit off of $25,000. is not bad at all. When you say 25,000, you're talking about in a month or for the whole quarter?
No, that a month, in a month. So
yeah, that's awesome. So just think about the path and again, I pulled that information out of Joe. Joe's not the kind of guy that's going to go, hey, everyone, look how much money I make. It's not his style. Is the teacher. He was teaching, make a lot of money, but what they do is incredibly important. So he's thinking, hey, what if I just make an extra $1,000? So he starts an arbitrage. And his first product is 4,000, sorry. Next one, and then that product the next month is 8,500. Then it's 17,000. Then it's 25,000 a month, 25 to 30% profit margin. The reason I'm sharing these numbers, I want you guys to know I love finding gems, and Joe is like a gem. There's people in this world who are out there crushing it, and they're not going to go around telling everyone how great they are, even though what they're doing is amazing. And so Joe has a strategy that has helped him to succeed very, very well. Most people don't do that well their first few months. In fact, most people, they give up. That's the statistics. And then other people, they don't give up, but they keep going, and it takes them a long time just to get to 200 a month, then 300, and then 400. So our goal in this show is to help you succeed. Also going to be speaking at a conference, a Just One Time Conference, Summit 2018, next March. He will actually be doing a workshop teaching you even more in depth and taking questions. You meet him and talk to him about how to do this effectively. But I just want to thank you, Joe, so much for taking time out of your day. I know you are married, you have kids, and just being there to help out and to help other people succeed, as people are here right in the chat right now. So thank you, brother, for doing this, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Again, I still have that heart of a teacher, and I'd love to pass on tips because people have been generous with me and mentoring me in a variety of areas, Amazon being one of them. And so I don't see any of us as competitors. I mean, the opportunity is really so huge that there's no tip or secret that you're going to give away that's just going to destroy your business. Like, by sharing those, we all make each other better. And so, you know, to see some guys from your community say, wow, you know, that what we talk about today helped me add 1, 2, 3 extra products and kept me from, you know, making some bad decisions that I would have made otherwise.
Absolutely. And when what usually happens is people don't fail on Amazon because someone else had a better secret they didn't know about. Usually people will fail because of a lack of knowledge or a lack of discipline. You have to keep working at it so that it will serve you someday. That's the key, you guys. All right, well, I'm going to look at the chat here. Good to see you, Jen. Hello, Hazel from the UK. Boxing MMA fan from the UK. Thank you so much, Tiago. I appreciate that. Hello, Ray. Good to see you, brother. Jafrain, Yehuda, Stanley, email. Great to see you guys. You're going to jump right into that email. Imamul, that's a great question. Would you recommend auto or manual campaigns? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a different approach. You guys have all probably heard the classic, keep your product under £1, make sure it has under 500 reviews, make sure it fits in a shoebox, and all. And this is still good advice. This advice should not fall on deaf ears. It is good. But what Joe's going to do is take this a step further, looking at the competitors and what's happening on Amazon to find out how to find a good product. He's going to talk about how to use ad campaigns. Amazing product. So here's, brother, teach us away, man. And I'll just insert questions as needed just to clarify.
Sure. So what to speak to that first question, right? Like, coming from the world of retail arbitrage, I was selling for a year and a half at least on Amazon before I knew how to run a sponsored ad campaign. So, but the first and best way to learn is just by getting in there and doing it. And so hopefully, you know, today I want to kind of, if you're unfamiliar, just show you the basics and kind of the process that we're using to uncover not only new opportunities, but also the things that you have that are working for you. Maybe you can make that a little bit better. Maybe you can find one keyword phrase that you haven't been targeting that could add a bunch of new traffic to your listings. And so I'll even kind of walk through some of the steps of how to set up just a basic campaign and start getting some information and how to read that information, because that's really, you can get data, but if you don't know what to do with it, it's not going to really help you. So to your question, the difference there in terms of, so you have two main categories. You have an automatic targeting, which Amazon is really the easiest to get started with, but it gives you the least amount of data to use, and it's going to essentially, using Amazon's algorithms, put your product, when people search things, they're going to say, okay, it's got apple slicer. People talk about apple slicer all the time, but to use that as an example, it might put you in front of just anything that it thinks is relevant. So you could be rubber grip handles. You know, if you use that term in your listing, it's going to populate. So it might not give you a lot of relevant search traffic, but it at least start putting your product in front of people that might have some use. Unfortunately, you're not going to get a lot of data there. So it's the easiest, but it's, to me, is the least useful personally for what we're talking about. Next, you have manual targeting. And so under manual targeting, you're going to have broad match campaigns, phrase match, or exact match. The big difference there, starting with broad match, is that for the term apple slicer, it's going to use those two words in any combination. So somebody could say apple knife slicer, and your ad might populate. They could say red slicer for apples, and your ad might populate. But unfortunately, you're not going to see data on what exactly people are searching. It's just going to show you, hey, you know, this is casting the net much wider, right? But again, the data is not data. The data is not very useful. Now, if you're looking for sales, that could be a useful campaign. Just casting your stuff, and we can talk about that later when, you know, PPC for sales. But we're talking about PPC for the data side. We want information. And so phrase match, again, is a little bit more specific. So it will, if you use apple slicer, it'll have to keep the words in that combination. So you'll show up for red apple slicer or apple slicer, best apple slicer, some of those things where you have to still use those words in combination. And then my favorite, and what our process really uses, is the exact match. And you can, so that's going to make sure that you show up for apple slicer, and the data that you get back, that's going to give you more concrete information to say, this is what people are searching for. Now, the caveat in there is that it might show up some plurals like apples slicer or apple slicers, a apple slicer. You'll show up for some of those things. Amazon will kind of group together. But that's kind of, if I could do a brief overview of the different types of campaigns, that's what we're looking at.
Super helpful, man. Can you talk about this strategy where you use ad campaigns to create so that you know, okay, this is a product that I want to source, that I want to sell on Amazon, versus the more traditional path where people look at what is currently on Amazon, not through an ad campaign, and all that to figure it out. And the challenge there is once they source it and get it up and it's going, even Jeff Cohen from Sellers Labs talked about this a couple weeks ago, it's there, and then boom, you look around, there's many of the sellers by that time who are all doing the same thing. Well, you have a huge advantage, and you can still do extremely well. But you have a tweak on this strategy, Joe. Could you explain that to us?
For sure. So, and it takes a little bit of a mind shift to say, I'm looking for profitable keywords, not necessarily a profitable product. And so I know that seems a little counterintuitive, but basically the process is, and you can start this with a product, say you already have, where we're gonna essentially put together a list of all the relevant phrases that we can think of with our current product even. And so I'll just show you an example of briefly of some screenshots of some of the campaigns that we run. And so give me just a second to pull this up.
And while you're doing that, I just want to mention, so Boxing says, Seth, your free videos in itself helped me match my wages last month. I'm predicted to do even better this month with my second product. Boxing MMA fan, that makes my day. That is awesome. And I just want to say, way to go. Keep going. That's incredible. And I didn't use PPC. When I started Boxing MMA, I didn't touch PPC for months. My secret weapon was studying the critical reviews of the competitors and using that to differentiate my product. And that's how we started making a lot of money on Amazon. However, once I started using PPC, I realized, man, this is another world that I need to learn. This is going to help me. And we run PPC on half of our products now. What Joe's going to show you is you can actually start with PPC your product. Back to you, brother.
Okay, so what we're looking at here is just a screenshot of an exact match campaign that we set up, and I will go over how to set these up if you're not familiar with how to do it. But so this is basically a week's worth of data for a product, and a lot of people start with, hey, you got to get optimized, you got to optimize your listing, and we're saying, hey, we're not exactly sure what we're optimizing for, so we're gonna do our best to, really the key is we're gonna put the phrases that we want to test in our title as best we can. We don't want to. We're not really optimizing for sales at this point. We're optimizing for data. And so I'm going to put a bunch of phrases. You can make it try to be cohesive, but I've included these words that are here that I'm testing in my title, so my ad will populate. A lot of times, if the words that you're wanting to test, if they're not in your title or some are very related to what you're doing, it won't populate the ad. So this is a week's worth of data, and what we're seeing here is, man, here's this keyword that has got over 10,000 impressions, right?
Just real quick, man. I just want to make sure everyone heard that. So you're saying if the keyword that you're running in your ad campaign, the keyword you're trying to rank for, you want to cause when someone searches the keyword, it pops up as an ad. Keyword is not in the title of the listing you created in Amazon, and that won't populate. You won't get an impression, right?
Yeah, that's what we've seen a lot. Like 95. People throw out optimization route. About 95% of what you show up for is a lot of the weight is what's in your title. And so just by changing up some of the phrases, you can be showing up in a lot more places. But yeah, so that's what we're finding is make sure it's, especially in this test phase, that you put it in your title so you can show up for the advertising. So here we've got, what we've learned is, man, we want to really look at the impression data. That's going to show us, are people searching for this? So in a week, obviously here, 10,000 people have searched for this phrase or a very close phrase to it. Maybe a plural, maybe they added a or something like that in front of it. And look, we had a ton of clicks. So that tells us our product is relevant for that thing. And then even better, the CC was under 30 cents.
Yeah, that's
right. The cost per click. That means there's not a lot of competition happening for that phrase. And so you can find these golden gems in terms of keywords. And look, we were having under 10% for the average cost of sale for our advertising. So this was definitely a huge keyword for us.
That's awesome. So when you do this to find a new product to sell, how do you determine what kind of product you're even going to start with? Because I know you have to have a product that you're going to put into, create a listing so that you can run AdWords. And if you get a sale, you got to fulfill the sale for the sake of your account, and then use that data to create what you really want to create. So do you first determine, well, I know it's going to be, within the realm of electric toothbrush, or something like that. Don't ask me why I have a toothbrush sitting here at my desk. It's been a crazy morning. Let me just say that. But, you decide, okay, it's just going to be a toothbrush, put in keywords. So, cheap toothbrushes. But then some of the keywords that are for the ad, that will tell you, okay, now I'm going to make my real product that I really want to sell. Is that how you're doing it? You just pick the general category and then source that product from like AliExpress or Walmart or something?
Yeah, so that was the hardest thing for me, was like, okay, where do I start? You look at this vast ocean and you have no product and you're like, whoa, okay, where do I go from here? I think it helped me to, like, start thinking about how can I narrow down into a general area. So one of the things that I did was, okay, I'm in teaching. I like educational products. Okay, I started looking around in there. What are different types of educational products? Hey, STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, right? Like the STEM toys is like, you can look at a variety of things, but you start to narrow down a focus somewhere, and at the very least, what you can do, you say, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know anything, but I'm going to start somewhere. And so it helped me to start narrowing down. And sure, you can look on Amazon to see what's there, or you can look on social media to see if there's any interesting types of products or relevant things that kind of can give you a direction. And for us, it started out with, honestly, it was something that my brother was doing at his son's birthday party, and he was trying to do this thing, and he couldn't find much information on it. He had to start figuring it out, and we're like, man, we start doing a little research. This is kind of big, and now, hey, is there anything on Amazon related to this? And so there's a variety of ways you can do that. But one key I will say is send in a bundle of products, right? Because now you have a unique listing that doesn't exist. And by putting in a relatable bundle, I can test a wider variety of keywords.
Smart.
I don't know where the opportunity is going to be. I'm fishing in a giant pond right now. But by putting together this bundle of products, I can now test a variety of keywords, and it's going to lead me down a rabbit trail where I can find something. Wow, here's the winner out of maybe this 3-4 product bundle.
Gotcha. So you could send in, for example, the toothbrush, the electric toothbrush, a regular toothbrush, a flosser tool, a flosser string, maybe some toothpaste, like a whole combination of a bunch of things as one bundle. And now you can test all these different keywords. Would that bundle all be within the same general experience? Like here I'm talking about, teeth cleaning, all related. It's not like a mishmash of weird stuff put together. It actually makes sense, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like that's part of Amazon's terms of service, is if you're going to make a bundle, it should be complementary. So, it definitely, it's advisable to have it kind of fit together. They don't have to be necessarily all in the same range, but they need to make sense.
So Jen has an interesting question. Jen says, which would you weigh more? Default bid, and how are they different?
So a default bid is just going to be, that's saying, hey, here's where you start with, here's the suggested bid. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like I found those numbers not to really matter and not to be very accurate, like Amazon's suggestions. So one of the things that we do is we just set the keyword bid up a little high. So right now we kind of start with $2. Like nobody's going to want to continue to spend $2 for a keyword unless you're like really killing it with it. But set your suggested bid up a little high, so that way you can just get the data back. If your bid is too low, your ad might not populate. And so again, we're looking for the impression data. That's how many people have been searching. And so we set the bids up a little high just to make sure we're getting the data back. Does that make sense?
Someone asked the question, that I need help with PPC ads, PPC, S. Dorsey. So S. Dorsey, what I would recommend you do, if you sit down and just coach you and show you how to do that step by step, there's a guy on the Just One Dive team. He's an expert at this. He has an incredible helping you optimize a keyword ad campaign. If you go to that link that I just sent, the products, if you go to the PPC section, it'll give you a lot more details on our team. So what I really like about this strategy, Joe, is the people are looking at current listings on Amazon to decide what they're going to buy. So technically, they're focused on the competitors, but may not be the best. In your situation, you're focusing what people are searching for, that there are no products to answer.
Absolutely. So we don't want to just be copying what everybody else is doing, because like you said, that's how you wind up in a flooded market. And so the goal is where is there demand and not an adequate supply? And so a lot of the data will tell us that, especially cost per click is a good indicator. Hey, this is a lot of people are bidding for these keywords. I may not want to try to compete with them. Now I may compete with them if I'm getting still some great conversion rates and it makes sense financially. But yeah, the goal here is find where people aren't and be a big fish even in a little pond. So
favorite keyword tools. Someone said, do you use Keyword Inspector? I would just love to know, like, what keyword tools do you like to use? Do you use any? I mean, you have this PPC ad thing you're doing. That, I mean, is the most powerful keyword tool because you're getting it directly from Amazon.
Absolutely.
Since you're asking, what are some of your favorite tools when it comes to research?
Yeah, that's the funny thing is I've used a bunch of them. So what they're really helpful for is generating keyword ideas, right? So things that you may not have thought of to test. And so you can use a variety of tools. Some that we're using right now, been using Scope. I like Scope a lot. I've used Keyword Inspector. That could be helpful as well. I mean, even merchant words and those kind of things. Take the search result data that they give with a grain of salt. That's my one thing. Because I've had them say, oh, it gets 6,000 searches in a month, and it's getting 6,000 searches in a day. I mean, so the things that it said, oh, this is getting 100,000 searches a month, it's like crickets, you know. So even a free one to start with is Google Keyword Planner tool. You know, that's not a secret, but you can use that for free with Google AdWords. They have their keyword tool that they'll give you their suggested amounts of search results on Google, as well as there's an option there to see additional suggestions. And so they can give you other related search terms. So the whole idea of those is don't bank on the data that it's giving back, but utilize the ideas and take them back and actually test them on Amazon.
Yeah. There is a tool I love. I know some of you guys have heard me talk about it before. It's called Keyword Tool Dominator. In fact, I'm going to go there right now and I'll show you guys. What this tool does is it allows you to do search what other people are searching for on Amazon. So for example, in fact, give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to share my screen to exactly how this works. Some of you guys have seen this already. Some of you haven't. All right, just let me know when you guys can see my screen, Joe.
Looking good.
Okay, great. So I'm going to put in, since this comes up a lot, baby bibs. So I typed in baby bibs. Now watch what happens, you guys. When I type in baby, see all of these other autocomplete words? This is what people are searching on Amazon. This is very, very helpful information. This is what people are looking for. Now, let's just take baby gate as an example. Comes up as an autocomplete baby gate does not mean Amazon is selling that item. People are searching for. So what this tool does here, not an affiliate or something like that. If I was, I would tell you, just trying to help you out. If I just type in baby, watch what happens. Left, you get the full version on our team, little ad there. Infinite lifetime access. But check this out. So I type in baby, it's telling me what people are auto searching. It's giving me the autocomplete. So baby changing pad, baby chair. Baby carrier is ranked as #1 because it's coming up the most often or the soonest. Therefore, the lower the number, the more important it is. talking about is you can find words like these. I don't know. Okay, I have to go and research to find out, okay, how many people are selling this? How many people are selling that? The system is the keywords are telling you what people are searching for, even if that is not being sold on Amazon. Directly from Amazon, just like Keyword Tool Dominator is getting it directly from Amazon. Use something like merchant words. I'm not against merchant words. And I'm not contradicting what you're saying here at all, Joe, but even Google Keyword Planner directly from Amazon. They're coming from Google. And merchant words, they're getting it from global search engines. So it's really good, as Joe said, to use it to give you ideas on what you want to sell. But if you want actual real data, use Keyword Tool Dominator, use an Amazon ad campaign in order to do your research. Here, let me hop back to you guys. Anything you would add to that, Joe? What are your thoughts, man?
Absolutely. I've used Keyword Tool Dominator a few times, and again, it's the main point is we want ideas, you know, and of what to test. We want a variety of phrases, and I think you can get those from a variety of places. Certainly, you know, Keyword Tool Dominator makes that a quick way to search, you know, because you could do the kind of the same thing just on Amazon search bar. It might take you all day. So they definitely have a valuable tool in that it speeds up the process there, which is valuable, of course. And so, but put that all together as here's possible keyword terms related to what I'm really just, I'm trying to cast it out wide. I'm trying to see, hey, where is there opportunity that maybe I'm not seeing? And I'm going to go ahead and just share another screenshot real quick. This one here, this would be an example of, you know, we were doing some additional keyword testing. Say, hey, is there other phrases related to our product that maybe would be a good fit to include? And so this is really right here is like a couple days worth of data. So I was like, wow, this is a great search term, except we're not really selling that well in it, right? Like we had 130 clicks and only, you know, this is only a couple purchases. So what that's telling me is my product may not be the best fit for this search term. Maybe there's another product that would be a better fit for this search term. And so this search term, as we tested a little bit more, it's getting about 5,000 to 6,000 searches a day. But our product that we currently have is not a great fit. So we're actually in the process of testing and sourcing a related but different product to match the search term. Yeah. Because there's just tons of traffic on it.
Yeah, so tons of people want it, but when they see it, there's not a connection between the keyword they searched and what you're offering. So in that case, either what you're offering has to change, or it needs to be optimized, a different keyword, or keep the keyword and change what you're offering. That makes total sense. Keywords are like matchmakers, you guys. It's, you know, they bring two things together. So you have on this side, you have the shopper, they want something. And over here, you have the listing, the seller. They have something to fulfill the need. But the two will never meet unless you have the right keyword to bring them together. So that keyword is what helps the shopper to find what you were offering. And in that situation you just showed you, tons of interest. People are searching it. They're searching it. Joe's listing is not fulfilling what they want, so he's going to go back and re-strategize. But this PPC ad campaign is giving him super precious data for that. One of the questions that you mentioned, if you join your course, you know a trick that can make your ad campaign be on page 1. Is that correct? 7. So we have 7 hacks we teach Boxing MMA Fan on our team, and these hacks to push it to high search end results, and yes, to get it on the first page. I can't guarantee it'll get on the first page. That would be wrong, but very often. Facebook group, I've been seeing a lot of our private Facebook group for our team, a lot of people posting, hey, number 3, I'm number 1, I'm on the second page. these hacks. So yes, they do work, do teach that. And have you used Keyword Inspector?
The question was, have I used Keyword Inspector? Is that right?
Keyword Inspector or Scope. Scope is part of Feedback Genius Sellers Labs, and then Keyword Inspector. Someone's asking, you know, what do you think of those two? How would you compare them? Do you have any experience with them?
Sure, yeah, I've used both of them quite a lot. Keyword Inspector, what it's telling you is basically it's giving you a list of keywords that you run reverse ASIN searches, so you can do that for your competitors' products, or you can even do that for yours. And they're trying to give you data in terms of these are the keywords that are feeding your listings traffic, and gives you some estimated search volumes and that kind of thing. Again, I take the keyword, like, I take that data with a grain of salt. It's an idea. It's like, oh, okay, here's some other things that I could test, right? I don't know for sure that that's accurate, even though, you know, to some degree we've seen correlations, but then again, certain words that we've known, we've tested, and it's saying, oh, that has no search traffic for it. But we tested it, and it's like, oh, there's search traffic there. And so that's why, like, don't rule out keywords just because you know, some tool said, oh, there's tons of traffic here, or oh, there's no traffic. You also kind of have to use your brain. Like, you got to be thinking, what would customers be looking for? How else would they describe it? Because Amazon has now overtaken Google in terms of a place where people start searches, right? So they come to Amazon for ideas. And that can help you get your brain outside of just your own product focus to say, you know, people start typing in stuff like best gift for a 7-year-old. You know, it's like people are typing all kinds of stuff into Amazon looking for ideas. And if you can find ways to include that into your copy, whether that be part of it in your title or your bullet points, or even back-end search terms, you can start showing up for some of those things that are a little bit outside of the box. So your other point was Scope. I do like Scope. It's kind of a combination of like Jungle Scout, where they give you numbers data, and they have some of the kind of like calculator into that, like FBA calculator is sort of built into that tool, but then it also gives you a good bit of search data and that kind of thing. So again, it's a great tool. It's kind of handy, built into the Amazon page, so that's nice once you download the extension, Chrome extension. But again, it's ideas. They're giving you ideas. All those things are valuable for ideas, and so that's, I wouldn't trust any one of them with my life, but again, you know the role that they're playing. That's my message.
Very good. And keep in mind too that that Amazon does not release their keyword terms. They don't release that to the public, that data. So when you have a keyword search engine, most of them are pulling from Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo or other places. And that's what we call them, global keywords. But they're not getting that directly from Amazon. Amazon doesn't make that available. Go to Amazon, like that, and you type in a word and you see an autocomplete. Okay, that's directly from Amazon. And Keyword Inspector, so far as we know, ASIN search is pulling it from listings from Amazon. So it's searching on Amazon. But that's different. What we're talking about, Google Keyword Planner, DuckDuckGo, Merchant Words, all those. We're not saying they're bad. Because, for example, I might search this toothbrush, but it doesn't mean I'm necessarily trying to buy it on Google. Maybe I'm researching it for a school project. It may not mean I'm buying it. Now, if someone searches this on Amazon, trying to buy it. People go to Amazon to buy. People don't go to Google just to buy. PPC ad campaign is so powerful, like Joe was saying. People are searching to buy. Yadua says, I'm trying to you create a product with a few related items, campaign to get the data. What if you start to sell this product, this bubble in stock? I can't hear you, brother.
Sorry.
I think you're.
Oh, what if I start selling this product and it goes out of stock? That's kind of the question.
I think that's what she's saying. So her first question is your strategy to first create a product with a few related items, PPC campaign to get the data? That's the first question. And then the second is, what if you start to sell a product, but I think what she means is you run out of stock. So you send it into Amazon, maybe you send in 100, and in a few days it's gone. It sells faster than you expected. What would you do in that situation?
Well, I guess you could say that's a good problem to have. But
right.
Yeah, so that's essentially, you could do a single product here and send it in. And again, don't go all in to do this. This is the great thing about this strategy. You don't have to start with 100, right? Start with 10. Send in 10 units of, it could be a single. I like sending it, trying to make a bundle, and because then I can test a variety of search terms. Because again, sales is not my point. Data, information is my point that will then inform future decisions. And so send in 10. You know, that we've gotten stuck before. We've sent in like 3 or 4 and they sold quick. And I was like, dang it, I didn't even get any data here. So
you were bummed that you got a sale. Like, shoot.
Yeah, right. I was like, that's not the point. So then, yeah, we're looking for that. As I get more and more data that supports, hey, this is the product you need to move forward with, then I can go deeper. I could go find a wholesale account. That's what I love is people say, well, private label or wholesale, those are ways to find products. Here's ways to find demand. And once we find demand, we could plug in different types. We could go find a wholesale account and plug in, go get 50 units once we've said, okay, there's sufficient opportunity here based on the keyword data. I don't have to go private label that right away.
Right.
Now I get more data. I'm able to sell out those 50 units. I go, okay, I'm ready to move forward more. Maybe I go buy, let's see if we can find something on AliExpress or Alibaba or whatever, and then do a bigger test. And then, man, you're still getting great data. You're still getting promising results. Now go all in on a private label. But as you can progress to that point. You don't have to start there.
Yep, that's a really, really good point. Boxing MMA says the down thing with keyword tool dominator is I copied and pasted without looking once, and some words weren't allowed. I didn't know it was not allowed, but Amazon told me to remove these words. Have you run into this, Joe, where you try to use certain keywords and Amazon wouldn't let you use them, or even for your listing?
I haven't run into that personally. I think the main issue is don't use your competitors like name brands. Like we don't want to make sure that you're not trying to mooch off that traffic. That's where you can really get more into trouble. But because we're looking, we're not necessarily interested in capturing Nike's traffic, right? Because people aren't going to buy our product if they're searching for Nike anyway. Now you can still try to run a PPC campaign, maybe on another name brand so that you just show up. But again, you don't want to put that in your title or anything like comparable to Nike shoes. Like you don't want to, don't put that on your back end search terms even. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, your listing will probably get suppressed if you do that. Absolutely. And Boxing MMA fan, I'm curious if you have specific words that weren't allowed, let me know what they were, and maybe we could give you more helpful data on that. Usin, you're right. Keyword Inspector does say they get the data directly from Amazon. That is true. Edward says, is there a time to become a seller on Amazon this last quarter? Absolutely, Edward. So far as we know, Amazon's not limiting people from doing FBA. So far as we know, like they did last year, there was a cutoff point really close to the last month. Toys and games always have more restrictions, and you have to have a certain number of sales before September 15th in order to get approved for that. So if you're trying to sell in toys, that's not going to happen FBA. But for other products, yes. And I would recommend doing something very similar to what Joe did. It hasn't started yet. Go to a store, a closeout store. Go to a discount shelf. Buy some stuff. Get the scanner app on your phone. Look it up. if it doesn't say restricted by the brand or the category for your Seller Central account, if the BSR is at least under 100,000, under 50,000 is better, under 25,000 is amazing. You see there's going to be a profit there, at least a third. Buy it, send it in, and just get started. Sometimes you just have to jump in and just start swimming and figure it out as you go. If Joe hadn't done that, he wouldn't be doing 25,000 a month on one single product. Think about that. He had to start somewhere, and it might have been, man, I'm going to sell markers. Okay, let's find them. They find it. They say, you have to start somewhere. The reason I'm sharing this is to not get barred from selling FBA in the end of the last quarter, because what Amazon's looking for is healthy seller accounts. They want to know you fulfill your orders if it's FBM, you respond to customer messages within 24 hours unless the customer doesn't let you contact them or unless you click the button no need to respond, and so forth. Have a healthy account so you can get going. So guys, don't wait around. Don't overanalyze. Keep studying, keep learning, but you got to begin and be willing to fail yourself into success. Ami says, I always remember Dr. Tsunami because he has the most interesting YouTube name. I love some of the names in here. Another guy is called the Pharmacist. I love it. What's up, the Pharmacist? He is not a pharmacist, he is the Pharmacist. Just making fun of you. But I love it. Okay, product. I'll give this one to you, Joe. Would you think it's doing a PPC campaign outside of the season? So as he's selling a product for Christmas, January hits, being fat, Santa Claus is gone. Should he run an ad campaign on that? What do you think?
I mean, certainly can't. So this is like a Christmas specific item, and you want to see what the search traffic for it in January?
I'm using that as an example. He didn't tell me if it's Christmas. He just said seasonal. I'm just using a random example. Yeah.
Well, I mean, certainly you'd like to know how bad is the drop off, out of season. So if it is, there's nothing wrong with running it. But if you're not getting promising results and hey, this is really a summer product, table that one. Maybe that's not the one you launch in January, but you can be getting ready. You can say, hey, we're going to come back to the table and look at it maybe a little bit more in the season. And while you're waiting on that, go find another idea that's not seasonal. So that's the beauty of this is we can go test a bunch of stuff. Don't stop testing. For $50, $100, you can get some good data back, and to know, okay, maybe right now we're currently sourcing 2 more products overseas that we've had really promising results on. So it's a slow, I'm telling you, it's just not a get rich quick scheme. It's kind of tedious. That's why most people don't do it, but if you want to save yourself a lot of heartache and pain by just going, all right, send me a container. I'm all in, I hope it works. Go a little slow, do what you can do that will work right away. Man, if retail arbitrage, if online arbitrage or wholesale is still making you money, do it. And then while you're doing that, start testing this stuff. I mean, for a really low budget, you're getting results that you can then start moving towards a more sustainable business model.
And Dr. Tsunami, maybe if the product isn't as seasonal, like let's say it's a flying kite, obviously those are more seasonal for the spring, but there's definitely a market in the fall and in some places in the world, even in the summer, some places. So that's less seasonal than Santa Claus toilet paper or something. So if you're doing kites, for example, why not just run a really simple automatic ad campaign to collect data? That's all it is. You could make your budget $5 a day and just see what it generates, how many searches you're getting. And if you find a significant number of searches in the summer, maybe then okay, it's worth trying to sell this product in the summer or using some of those keywords. I like to have ad campaigns running on at least half my products, so it's always collecting data to understand, because the market's like this, you guys. It doesn't stay the same. It shifts. It changes. Some things trend, other things go down. It's constantly fluid. So that's why you want to be fluid with it. As you inspired me to get started on my business. That is awesome. Now I feel bad for making friendly fun of your cool YouTube name. Hopefully soon I'll be able to fire my boss. And the pharmacist, think like this. It's just a matter of time. Like, really truly believe I can make this happen. I'm going to do what it takes. It's just a matter of when, not if. To find great products. See, sorry guys, the chat went way up. Okay. Hey Seth, where do you start? So I would do exactly what Joe said. I would start by selling in arbitrage. Trying to build a massive passive income machine. Like, you want this to be your full-time business. You want it to make you a lot of money. The team will show you step by step from beginning to end exactly how to do that. It doesn't matter if you're beginner or advanced, we show you all the steps. We even have a section called Start, like how do I start a business? Should it be LLC? Should it be sole proprietor? Should it be a C Corp, an S Corp? Do I do a professional account, individual account? What category should I start with? Which ones are restricted? All of that we cover. So if you really, really want help and you're able to commit to it, Yossi Kott says, hi, let's say I have all the keywords for a product. Need to put in, let me read that again. Let's say I have all the keywords for a product. Okay, got that, you'll see. And now I just need to put them, I think he means into Amazon. How I need to put it on Amazon with your screen. You create a listing, you're just going to go to the title and you're going to put your most important keywords in the title. And then you're going to add them also other ones. I don't recommend duplicating. I'm curious what your on that, Joe. I'm just sharing my opinion on here. I only use them once. Put them in the bullet points. Words also in the product listing yourself, but make it make sense. Don't stuff it. Make it fluid. Make it natural. Amazon is strict how many words you can use on the back end. The more natural they are, the more powerful your listing will rank. Amazon is really focusing on trying to reward listings that are the way people think, the way people naturally would search for something. No one's going to search a title like this. Superpower automatic, battery powered, 16-inch, 3-inch wide, amazing toothbrush with Velcro setting. Like, people don't search that. Now, obviously, you want to put keywords in there, ridiculous, and especially in the bullet points and in the product listing. Anything you want to add to that, Joe?
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, while you are testing for data, again, my main point is not sales, it's information. So it may not be the most fluid that you'd want it to be, but as you start to identify your opportunities and you start getting your product and you want to optimize for sales, you want to optimize the listing based on your data, that's where you're going to go back and alter, take out those losing keywords that you don't really want to target anymore. And yet, try to find the balance between writing for keywords, but writing for humans, so you want to show up in the search algorithm, but you want a human to be able to read your listing and connect emotionally with because people buy emotionally, they don't buy robotically. And so be able to address their concerns, etc., and pepper in the keywords. That's kind of my philosophy.
And notice you said pepper in. It's like you're making eggs and you put a little bit of pepper on. You don't make pepper and sprinkle on eggs. You make eggs and you sprinkle on the pepper. Just a little bit, the best keywords you can find, and you change it over time based on what the ad campaigns are telling you. Edward says, Seth, I love AmazeOwl, Edward. Thanks for all the videos. I already have some products and talking to suppliers. That's awesome. International seller, I live in the Netherlands. Where do you get those products from? So Jeffrey, if you're talking about arbitrage, you sell in .com first and you get them online, send them to a prep center. The prep center prepares them for you, puts in the right codes, sends it to Amazon's warehouse. we teach arbitrage as well as private label. If you're talking about private label, so Joe's method, and I was curious, Joe, where did you source your first products from before you bought them from a supplier, MOQ, you know, larger package? Where did you start? Did you go to a local store, or how did you do that, man?
Yeah, so our first product was essentially a craft kit, and we put together products. So to test it out, I mean, we were able to source all of it locally. I mean, we could get practically everything either online or from a retail store, and just the combination of those products together and a little bit of a recipe card, and here we had our product. Now we've refined our sources over time to get better deals, and yes, order at higher quantities as the demand met it. But certainly, you know, even now for Q4 with some of the variations, we're not going to have enough time to bring it over from China. So we're looking for, we've got some more local wholesale supply stores that we're getting it from, ordering online through wholesale.
Hope that's helpful. You can literally start going to stores in your local area. You can go to AliExpress. There's places where you can get really small quantities just to start. Supplier. Edward says, yes, right. Boxing MMA, stressing already, is expecting to sell out in 3 weeks. That's really cool. That's a good problem to have, like Joe said. They threw me off. Yes. My products have roughly 3 weeks to receive it. Any tips? Boxing MMA fan, do you have a local supplier who can supply the same thing? That's the first thing I would ask. And some people do this. You can raise the price to slow the sales so that you don't run out of inventory and your BSR doesn't go crazy. Have you run into that, Joe, where you've run out of inventory, you tried to slow it down because you're afraid of losing your BSR ranking because once the inventory's gone?
Sure. Yeah, we actually kind of in that situation right the second as we were kind of selling out of the older versions of our kits and getting some newer versions on. So one of the things that we've done, a tip is you can close your listing, and so it doesn't keep piling up days without sales. Does that make sense? If you close but don't delete the listing. But the other thing is, yeah, if you see it kind of closing in and you're like, man, I'm not sure of the time frame, you know, certainly you can increase the price to try to slow down some of those sales. I think that's a good strategy as well.
That's very smart. Artem says, Seth, I like your videos. Many of them are priceless. Why do you share this good stuff? I mean, many of your watchers will be great competitors to you. Why do you create competitors? Respond to this question if someone asks you this. Because right now you're also serving some really good information, and someone says, Joe, but you're creating more competitors. How would you respond to that, man? I'm gonna let you take this one.
I think you know how I'm gonna respond already, which is a softball question. So it's literally like when I think about it, it's like e-commerce accounts for 10%, actually less if you look at the data, of all retail sales in the United States, right? So 90% of people are still going into stores and buying stuff.
Right.
That means we're like on the front end of e-commerce. As big as it seems like it is, we're still on the front end of e-commerce. So we're not really competitors. I mean, the marketplace and the opportunity are so huge. Yeah, am I gonna give you, here's all my exact keywords and this is the exact product I'm selling? Yeah, I'm not gonna necessarily give out that information, but in terms of methods, there's so much untapped opportunity where there's, even now, you know, there's hundreds of thousands of keywords that people are searching in where there's just not enough demand on Amazon, you know, let alone the opportunities that exist on other marketplaces and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Tim, imagine that there were 40,000 people who all went fishing. They wouldn't begin to compete yet, not even begin. I have almost 40,000 subscribers. That's not that many compared to the opportunities out there. Right. Second, this is sad, but it's true. A lot of people, they don't become competitors because they're not willing to work hard. You have to be willing to kick your butt and get yourself up every morning and keep going to build something that helps. So the greatest differentiator for me is there are other people out there who won't work as hard. And I don't mean that in arrogance at all. Because of grace. I work hard because I'm thankful. My heart is full of grace, and it makes me want to work hard because I'm thankful. It's not because, oh, I got to prove myself how look wonderful I am. I feel privileged to be able to do this. And I will do whatever it takes to fight for my wife and my kids. That drives me like crazy about that. Second, when I started on Amazon and I went to YouTube to find videos that would help me, a lot of it was blah, 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 blah. There actually wasn't helpful content. So a commitment I made is I'm going, and my friend pushed me over the edge to do this by constantly sharing my channel, which was embarrassing. He said, Seth, and he did it to help me. He's like, Seth, your channel is terrible. Let me share it with the world. So it motivated me to start making videos. I enjoy teaching. Like Joe, I enjoy it in my heart when I'm able to help people. I'm good at coaching and I like doing it. So it actually, that's a payoff right there. Third, I get paid to coach people. It's a legitimate business I get to run. I love being a coach. My dream is not just to sell a course. It's to train entrepreneurs around the world who can help each other, people like Joe, who can invest, and yes, even billionaires, who can give back, who can go into countries that need help. We have opportunities now to go into two different countries on different levels asking for help. One of them, the federal government has reached out and said, just will you guys help us? What an opportunity to do that, to be able to get paid to help people fire their boss. That brings me joy. So that's the reason. I'm not worried about the competition because I'm going to keep working harder and harder, and I will always work harder. And that's okay with me. But as Joe said as well, it's a very tiny portion of all the sales. We haven't even begun to saturate the market. Some people think, oh, Amazon's saturated. They're crazy. It's not saturated. What needs to happen is they need to be willing to get the knowledge they need and work hard to differentiate themselves. So for example, look at it this way, Tim. You're getting a long answer. Isn't that cool? Look at that. See, so I can use it to brush my teeth. It's a really cool toothbrush. Now, how did I figure out that this toothbrush is going to make me a lot of money? By doing some of the strategies that Joe talked about, things I've learned from other people, things that I picked up myself. Bring my toothbrush to the market, I'm already way ahead of the competition because I did all that work. So when I'm first to market with something, other people have less of a chance for competing. Even as the market grows and someone comes out, even with a better one, I still have the bigger market share. And because I'm building brands from our products, we have followings in different categories, different ways that help us. So people like the brand. It's kind of like you'll spend twice the money to buy a shoe because it's Nike, just because it says swoosh on it. Brand value. See? So you really that when you have your own unique brand. So try to think bigger about this. Anyways, super long answer to a great question. Yes. All right. Spam, guys. Some people need to do something that will help their life. Lola and Jane, you guys need to go sell on Amazon and build yourselves a living. I'm deleting some spam comments in here. Okay. Guys, these are great questions. I see we have, I'll just take one more. Most important quick tip for optimizing a listing. Joe, what is your most important quick tip for optimizing a listing? What would you say?
First off is make sure your title has your most important keywords and flows naturally. That's your like 90% of optimization is from your title. Secondly is make sure your pictures are good. You invest money in great pictures because people look at those. So don't have crappy pictures. That's the next. And then do your best to have a great product and get good reviews. And I know Seth can help out with review strategies. They've got some of those. But you know, that's what people are looking for. When they come to your listing, they're not reading all your content copy. Most of them are not. They're going to scan that, especially as a mobile user, and they're going to look at your pictures and they're going to look at reviews. So those are kind of the main things. Here's one quick tip. All right, this is Gen.video. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they can help you get, even if you're not brand registered yet, they can help you get syndicated video footage onto your Amazon listings. I don't get anything from Gen.video. I'm actually just learned about that myself. But this is not up at the top with the pictures. This is going to be a little bit further down where it says related videos.
Right.
But it's still very prominent on, especially when people look through mobile. They can see these, and so it can attach to your ASIN these videos. So that's a little tip right there.
Thank you, Joe. Who was it again? I'm gonna drop the web link here. Who was it?
It's Gen, Gen.video.
Guys, I will share this with you in the link, and I have no affiliation with these people. At the end of the day, everything we can to help you. Give me 1 second. I'm going to drop this link in there, and I'm also going to drop another link into the chat. Something you guys may not know about Joe is he has a company called BrandGuard, and again, we're not affiliates. He's not paying me to say this. I'm telling you this because I know Joe is an awesome seller, and he knows what he's talking about. What they do is help to protect Amazon. If you guys are dealing with counterfeits, hijackers, people selling knockoffs, you. And I'm going to chat it right here. I'll also put it on the about video. So there is brandguard.com, and there is gen.video. Video, again, is a resource for getting videos on your listing under related videos. BrandGuard for protecting your listings. And of course, as you guys know, if you want step-by-step coaching, how to succeed on Amazon, not spell today. There we go. Just One Dime will teach you how to do that. We have 8 coaches. We teach you from beginning to end how to succeed. Just last week, someone posted he did 13,000 a month on his product. 13,000. Amazing. That's just incredible. That right there makes my day. Hey, Joe, thank you again, brother, for being here. And super much looking forward to meeting you in person in March. I'm Seller Summit.
Looking forward to. Thanks for having me.
You guys have an awesome day. Thank you again, Joe. See you.
Bye, guys.